Okay, but you realize Conan's not Conan without Johnny Carson.
Okay, you're getting on me for choosing Conan O'Brien. You chose Paul Schaefer. Like, the entire pantheon of late-night personalities, you choose Paul Schaefer.
It was either Paul Schaefer or Merv Griffin.
Yeah, and, okay, yeah.
I really like Jeopardy. All right, we've been here in Biloxi for like 4 days now, and I am filled to the brim with delightful Southern food, including a whole mess of grits. I feel like maybe you guys from outside the South don't understand how grits work, so I thought that today we would do a little cooking exhibition and I would teach y'all. The recipe's really complicated, so I need to get a super secret family recipe.
This has nothing to do with cooking.
You're gonna want water, grits, cheese, and a whole mess of butter.
This is a short show. I don't think we're gonna have time for this.
Don't worry, I got it.
It takes like 20 minutes to make grits. Okay, all right.
And in honor of this delightful Southern delicacy, today's show is called
True Grits
with Jess and BJ.
Yep.
All right, so we're down to 19 players.
Yes.
It was a bit of slow going first part of the day, and then it sped up at the last part of the day. Before we get to the bubble stuff,
we gotta settle up.
We do have to settle up. Yesterday's bet was where our two former Southern Poker champions would finish highest finish.
Hoyt Corkins and Alan Carter both still alive. They needed to, one of them finish higher than 22nd.
And they're both still in with 19 left.
Which means we crushed the bookie on this one. Jess?
Alan's still way above average. He's got 530,000, and then Hoyt is a little bit below average with around 260, right?
Right, but still solid.
Still plenty of chip, plenty of play. So maybe we'll be seeing one of them, possibly both of them, at the final table, which leads us to today's over-under.
Yes, it does. There are 5 former WPT final tablists still alive in this field. We have Shannon Shore, Alan Carter, Hoyt Corkins, Hilbert Shirey, who made this final table as well, and Chad Brown.
Yeah, 3 of those 5 guys final tabled this event. It seems like people final table this event twice more than some other events.
Maybe we should do a Groundhog Day themed episode.
Huh.
Just throwing it out there. All right, so with 5 former final tablists, the bookie set the line at 2.5. Will
be at the how many of these
Yes.
people will be at the final table? Bookie said 2.5.
I'll go first unless you want to.
You go first.
All right, I am predicting 2. I think 2 will make it. My money's on Shannon and one of the former champions, not sure which one. I don't think we'll get 3. That's half the final table.
You realize that it's really boring when we pick the same thing every time for the over-under, and do so for the exact same reasons. I feel like Shannon's really in a groove here, and after seeing Hoyt and Allen both dip down and rally back, it just seems like one of them's
going to get burned,
make the final table, and then one's going to get unlucky.
All right, well, this may be our first tie the whole way through.
I know, this is completely uninteresting. We really have to work on that.
All right, so you talked about a slow day.
It was a slow day.
And it all led up to the money bubble.
Which lasted for 2+ hours. It was a very long money bubble.
Yes, and there was one player who was very short stacked, and I think that made the other short stacks tighten up just expecting him to bust.
Yes, shortly, I went around on break before we lost David Diaz in 28th place and just kind of took a look with blinds going into 2,500, 5,000. We had 6 people who had 70,000 chips or less, which is pretty much consensus critical zone.
Right.
And a lot of them were keeping their eye on Alistair Melville, who basically blinded down to nothing, quintupled up.
He would have like 3 or 4 big blinds?
If even.
Right.
And did it again, quintupled up. And that dynamic kept the others playing a little more conservatively than they might under other circumstances.
Stretching out the entire money bubble.
Stretching out the whole
Which
bubble.
is not necessarily a bad thing if you know how to take advantage of it.
Hello there, Ryan Hughes.
Ryan Hughes came into the money bubble already among the chip leaders, had about 440,000, and in the course of those 2 hours, even though he was already in chip leader, near chip leader status, more than doubled his stack. Came out of the money bubble with 960,000, finishing the day as the chip leader with over $1 million.
And we had been waiting for 3 days for someone to really pull away from the pack, and it was during the money bubble that Ryan Hughes was raising. I would say 80% of hands is not an over-exaggeration. And because the short stacks ahead of him knew that he would be raising, they would be folding. Luke Stoudemire was on his left, tried to fight back, ended up losing half his stack in a situation where Ryan made 2 pair. The only person battling back with him was Lee Markle.
Yes.
He was not the only one, though, who really took advantage of bubble play.
Shannon Shore came into the bubble among the short stacks.
At one point down to 50K.
Yes. Started the bubble around 100, took hits, came back, finished with about an average stack from the money bubble, but carried the momentum out of that to finish, where is he? Third in chips. Yes, so that's why our stock in Shannon Shore is so high today.
He is very stealthy at the tables, too. You don't necessarily realize. When he got very low, I was kind of like, where did his chips go? And then I turn around and they're back 10 full. You could say the same thing about Lee Markle, who was in the money bubble, had been amongst the chip leaders for several days, and then was still hanging in there, doing fine, fighting back with Ryan in a lot of big pots, and then suddenly...
Yeah, once the bubble burst, it kind of burst for Lee Markholt as well.
Yeah, he just could not win a flip. Could not win a hand, and went out in, I think, like 24th, 23rd place.
22nd, I believe. But it happened relatively quickly. Like Joseph Chong, who came into day 2 and busted kind of out of nowhere.
It was just
same
disastrous
thing
hand after
Markle.
disastrous hand.
Yes.
Oh, my grits are done. See how delicious they are?
Wait, it's been like 5 minutes. Are these instant grits?
BJ, no self-respecting Southerner would use instant grits.
Okay, now just explain this to me. How does it take the entire grit-eating world 20 minutes to make grits, and you just magically make them in 5 minutes? Do the laws of physics not apply to your side of the table? Does water boil faster?
They're magic grits. Want some?
No, thank you. Magic
Delicious
means they're
and magic.
laced with something.
No, it just means they're wonderful. You just put your finger in my magic grits.
They're cold.
Probably because you put your soulless, heartless, dark, blue bleeding finger in there.
Blue, yes, I've never been called a blue
Ice
blood
cold
before.
blood. That's what I was trying to go
I
for.
thought you were
I'm
calling
so
me-
disheveled by the fact that you've tainted my magic grits that I
you-
can't even focus.
Thought you'd call me royalty.
I
Thank
hate you. Kiss my grits. So, Hoyt and Allen, stop it. Get your hands off of them. You've ruined them already.
Gonna kiss your grits.
I didn't mean it literally. You already put your finger in there. Hoyt and Allen, still in. Could be a really good story. We've never seen anyone win the same event twice. We did come very, very, very close in season 6, though.
Nick Schulman and Anand Medic, the most 2 recent winners at the time of WPT Foxwoods, made the final table, ended up finishing 2nd and 3rd. Neither one of them could quite close the
3
deal.
left. You have 2 former champions, and Mike Vila bests them, and so...
So now we're hoping to get 2 former champions at the final table again, and we'll see if one of them can come through.
Yeah, it's a very similar situation where Hoyt is the reigning champ, Allen is the
2
champ
years
from the
ago.
year before, and they were playing at the same table again on day 3. Every day they've had to play together. And
Well,
while I think they don't love the fact that you have a good player at the table with you, it seems like they've kind of...
They're getting chummy.
You could make like a buddy sitcom of Allen and Hoyt being pals at the Southern Poker Championship.
I think you'd need like Gavin to be their wacky neighbor or something. You need some. They're a little too calm.
That's true. You need
Just
to throw
saying.
in. I think Gavin would be a good 3rd selection on there. Which kind of brings us to our question of the day, actually. Since we were talking about kissing grits and chummy sitcom neighbors, what is your favorite sitcom catchphrase?
So many.
I know it was really hard to choose.
So many from The Simpsons alone, but I think I'm just gonna go with following the food theme. Donuts.
Wait, that one or forbidden donut?
Yeah, but see, that's not a catchphrase. He just said
Oh, he
that
did
once
just say
in a
that once.
Halloween episode, and Halloween episodes technically don't really exist. They're kind of outside the canon.
They're in the ether?
No, they're outside the canon.
All right. Mine's not even a word, so I don't know if it counts as a catchphrase, but I gotta go. It's the worst Fonzie impression ever. I'm sorry. I'm no Henry Winkler.
Don't strike me as a Fonzie girl. You know, he's like Midwest. He's Milwaukee. He's not Southern at all.
I know, but he's Fonzie. He rode a surfboard and with a leather jacket on, and he jumped over a shark. Like, how do you not love Fonzie?
Oh my
I even
God.
love Chachi because of his connection to Fonzie. That's how much I love Fonzie.
Wow, anyone who loves Chachi, that's pretty hardcore.
It's me and Joni in a camp all by ourselves.